Oops.
Did it go? Are we live?
Yep.
Did it work?
Yep.
Does it have audio?
I don't know. Have my volume
Say
down.
something. Welcome to the Lift Heavy Run Long podcast, episode number 208 with Becky, Duncan, and Caleb Sweazy. You can find us at www.liftheavyrunlong.com, on Twitter and Instagram at liftrunlong. Also, feel free to email me directly at the address wilson@liftheavyrunlong.com. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and leave us a 5-star review on iTunes. If you're not a member of our Facebook group, you should be, because we want you to be there. Search for Lift Heavy Run Long Community and request to join right now. My name is Wilson Horrell. What did it say?
It just usually goes to a picture and it still just says starting in 0.
And there's nothing there?
No?
I cannot do it.
I can see us moving when I...
Oh, I'm still sitting on 0. Okay, we're good.
You know what
She's
it
got
is?
it.
What?
I got that.
It's data. You got data now.
We can talk about that
We
later,
got to get into
but-
Moose Mobile.
I don't know. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead. I
All
didn't
right.
mean to interrupt.
That's okay. You can interrupt me because you're my favorite person in the world.
That's right.
You're the most beautiful person in the world. You are my wife, Dr. Amanda Kimsey Horrell, jacked and tan. You're looking super fly,
Thank you.
super tan,
Yeah.
super jacked, trapped like a champ, hair like a boss. Just looking good all
Thank
the way
you.
around. Glad to have you.
Thank you. Glad
Thanks for
to be
sitting
here.
over next to me.
Yeah.
I know that it's been hard to sit all the way over there, all these episodes.
Yeah.
And then the attraction to me has just become too much.
I just can't help myself.
And we have Miss Becky Duncan.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing well.
Thank you for coming out here and being with us.
I'm glad to be here.
We are glad to have you. And Caleb Sweazy?
That's correct.
Sweazy or Sweazy?
Sweezy.
Sweazy. Okay, I did good. Thank you for coming out here as well.
Thanks for having me.
We have a couple of outstanding, fine people who did a fine thing, and we're going to talk about that in a little while. But speaking of fine people, Melisa Burgess, how are you?
I'm well, thank you.
You are looking well as well. Super tan.
Thank you.
You got that thing going on.
Yeah, it's like a part-time job.
How do y'all do that? Just sit outside a lot?
Yeah.
Is that the secret?
Stare straight up at the sun.
It doesn't work for me. The thick and creamies just don't
No.
absorb.
I think the Cuban genes help.
I was going to say the jeans.
Yeah.
The jeans probably don't help you.
Yeah. Well,
Your face and head gets fried, though.
it gets red. Looks like I stuck my head out of the trench at one of those atom bomb testing sites. You know, you see those things where they're all down in there. Looks like I'm like, oh. And then it just goes away. And then, I don't know. I think I got cancer on my head. My mom's been telling me for years that I was going to get. You said it's just, what, scabies or something?
What?
What's the dry stuff?
Cradle cap?
Psoriasis?
Psoriasis.
Scabies.
Same
My
difference.
husband does not have scabies.
I don't even
Make
know
that
what
clear.
scabies. Is that
I
like
don't
bed
either.
bugs?
I mean, it's like a body bug, yeah.
Oh, all right.
All right. Does anybody have anything new or exciting to talk about?
I don't know, but if you have scabies, I hope you've wiped these.
Do we wipe them down every
Okay.
Yeah.
Every 100
Few
or
months.
so.
it's coming up.
Every 250
I'm
episodes.
sure of that.
Okay.
215 is the match. That's what I have on my calendar
Okay.
for when to wipe it. Have we verified if we have audio?
Yes.
Yeah,
People
they're
can
saying
hear
they
us.
can hear us.
Holly can hear us.
I'm so happy.
People are excited.
We can shut this thing down. This is huge. Josh Hines. I should have gotten his band name. It's one of Vaughn's friends. The Reverend couldn't be here tonight. He's taking Jackson to a basketball tournament.
Okay.
Understandable, good excuse. 208 episodes. He's probably missed 8. Pretty good record.
Okay.
Big thirsty, busy at work, making all that money. Was going to go home and count it if he could get off on time, but probably can't. Have to count it. He's going to take tomorrow off and count it.
Understood.
So he wasn't able to be here with us. But Josh Hines is a friend of Vaughn's, and he helped me with the audio problem. Turns out there's some kind of tick in the software that we use. There's a lot of ticks in Facebook, but on the software that we use, he showed me where to find it, and I would have never found it had it not been for him. So Josh, if you're listening, send us a t-shirt size and we'll have Vaughn mail it to you. I'm not going to mail it because I hate mailing t-shirts, but I would.
You say that. You mailed one to Australia or something.
That's a reason that reiterates my hatred for mailing t-shirts.
It was tough.
Mailing an international anything from a Byhalia post office is not something you want to be doing. The people here are wonderful, but this is just not. It's not a metropolis. They don't have a lot of things going in and out of Australia via Byhalia, Mississippi.
The hardest part's probably just getting that second mortgage on the house to actually send it to Australia.
There's that. It's not inexpensive for sure. And then it's helpful if you have somebody who has legible handwriting, which between me and the lady there did not. Amanda typically
Writes it for you.
takes care of all that
Yeah.
for me.
Which is atypical of doctors, from what I understand.
Well,
Not known for their handwriting.
She has
Yep.
nice handwriting.
Hers is perfect.
Yeah.
I've never- it is beautiful. It looks
She has
fake.
nice handwriting.
Yeah. And her dad does too.
Yeah, I was going to say I get it from my dad.
Okay.
Yes,
So
yes,
it's
very-
genetic, or is it just practice?
Beautiful handwriting. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm thinking probably the way that you were raised, like
Yeah.
to do right. My handwriting is equally as crappy as my
Yours is like a
brother's
doctor?
handwriting. Which
Ted's
is
is
terrible.
ugly?
Horrible. But he's a doctor of education.
Yeah, but he's a doctor of education, so I figured he'd be able to.
It's terrible. My dad's is
to write
terrible.
well.
Mine's gotten worse as I get older. It's just
Yeah.
I'm lazier and lazier. I'm just like scribbling.
When you sign something, when you do your
Nope.
signature,
It's,
do you?
it's my first initial and just whatever.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
Is that how you do it?
Who's
Oh,
got
yeah.
time?
Yeah. Is that legally acceptable?
The dork in the group, I still signed
Amanda's
everything.
Amanda's like, I most definitely have time.
My check's clear, I guess.
It's never been rejected.
Also, another sign of age, I still write checks.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Do you really?
Occasionally, not very
Wow.
often.
It's been
well,
a
okay,
while.
so in the work that I do, there is a certain number of places that I only get to pay with a check.
Do you let people pay you with checks?
Oh, I totally do.
Okay.
Yeah,
Do you like them less when they do?
pay with a check.
Yeah.
Oh, only if we're at the grocery store.
You just
And I
find
gotta
you just
sit-
want to get paid.
Yeah, I
You're
don't
like
care.
me, small
Money's
business.
money, man.
Just pay me.
Yeah.
I hate it. Customers send me a check and I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta enter it in and I have to stamp the back of it.
Do you have something online for them to click and pay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Some people just don't.
I didn't realize you did that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. I mean, well over 90% of my invoices are paid online.
Really? Because you get a lot of mail with checks.
Yeah,
You
but it's
really
all
do.
small checks.
Oh, okay.
I don't have enough people writing. That's my problem with
You want a
business.
big
I need
check?
more people writing me big checks.
Yeah.
That's probably the business idea I should be looking for is one in which people pay me good money.
I'm still looking for it.
Yeah, I haven't found it. I've got, even when I tell people about Lift Heavy Run Long, if I'm trying to explain, like, I don't really want to call it a business because I'm like, you need to, if you call something a business, I feel like you should make money doing that.
It's helpful.
And so I just tell them it's an expensive hobby.
It is. Yeah.
But then my other business, it makes money sometimes. Just depends on when you ask me.
Yeah.
Currently, right now, it's not.
Oh, so if I'm not mistaken, you were a CPA, correct?
Not yet, but I
Oh.
am an accountant.
Okay. I seem to remember that from the conversation that we were having along the trail, that you were in accounting. I thought CPA, but you're working there.
Working there.
Okay, cool. Well, so you could probably help us with this
Yeah.
issue
Yeah.
of not understanding money.
I can help you with it legally.
Okay, all right.
Pull that microphone to your face. Now, can you launder money? Do you know how to launder money?
I do not.
You don't?
Just watch Ozark.
I was just
yeah.
beat me to it.
Yeah. That's the only
Watch
thing that's
Ozark?
ever made me want to be an accountant. Just whatever gets me closer to the cartel.
Yeah.
That's a good plan.
You don't want to
Such
get
a
too
good
close, I don't think.
That's what we're finding out.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of ethical issues and stuff with accounting now, especially after SOX and
Yeah.
the Enron. If
Yeah.
you're not familiar with SOX,
Yeah.
the Enron incident changed a lot in accounting.
Have you always wanted to be an accountant?
Actually, I have not. I have an undergrad degree in engineering.
Wow.
Oh, okay. Well, we have some
Definite
really
change, yeah.
smart.
I was going to say, that's some real
Yeah.
smarty pants kind of stuff,
Yeah.
both
Yeah.
of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Are you a corporate accountant? Or
Yeah, I do work for a corporate.
corporate. Okay.
Man, that's impressive.
That's interesting.
I'm going to tell our audience how we know Caleb and Becky.
How about Melisa tell?
That's even a better thing to do. I like it. You just tell me what to do from here on out.
Tell me when to start talking, Amanda.
You can go ahead.
Am I
Go.
good?
Right now.
So we all signed up to run the Sylamore race in February. And even leading up to it, I don't know when the whole snow and ice thing started, but like I'm a planner, and for days up to it, we were going, we were not going. Then we're going, and then we're not going. So I was already like mentally just, not there because there's just no commitment. And then probably the morning of, screw it, we're going. So I ride up there with Wilson, and the drive was pretty much okay. It was cold. There was probably like one little treacherous thing of ice that to me was like 10 miles, but I'm sure it was like a quarter of a mile. But
It was two pretty good stretches.
okay, so we got that there. Then we get there, everything's good. It's going to be cold. Everything's fine. My friends told me that the Village Creek was easier than the Sylamore course. I have liar friends that told me a lot of things about this course. Okay.
Village Creek was a nice day, though.
Yeah. But to me, they're not even comparable
No, they're
after
not.
being them, like, not
They
even.
told you it was harder than Sylamore or easier.
Village Creek was harder.
No.
No.
I know. They just told me this.
Right, yeah.
You have some terrible friends. I'm kidding.
So, we get out there. It's time to run the race. It's freezing, and everyone's talking about this water. I make it through the water fine. Like, I guess it was lower than normal, though, from what I've heard. But we get to where you have to go up the water, and it's just a sheet of freaking ice. So that's freak out number one. And my good friends Dan and Dino have to hold my hand up that while I'm crying. And I'm like, as soon as I get up here, I quit. You guys are liars. I hate you. This is the worst day of my life. Go through all that.
Are you crying at this point? Tears?
Yeah. Crying at that point, but still, like, I wasn't to when we get to that, but we had to stop because I was slowing people down.
Pull that microphone in your phone.
Okay. Is that better?
Yep.
I was slowing people down. So Dan was kind enough to help. I mean, people are literally like sliding down the side of this thing back into the water. So, Dan's helping people up and holding my hand, and then him and Dino each hold one hand and they get me up the thing. And as soon as I get to the wherever I'm not going to die, I'm done. I'm going to quit. I think I had like a 30-minute mile. It took 5 miles to the first aid station?
Roughly. Yeah.
Took forever and ever. But then I get there and I'm like, this is great. Like, all that bad stuff, I can do this. I can finish, not thinking that I got to get back. So I keep going, do the other little part that you have to do. And I was with Dino for most of the time, but then, there's parts that you can actually run. So when I was able to run, I got a little bit ahead. And then I guess it was, would we have a mile left?
About maybe two.
Maybe two. I get to this point where all of a sudden this path under the little waterfall, death, hell, devil trail. I'm not even supposed to talk about this because I'm suing the race director for even putting this damn thing on. But we're going to pretend like it's not even, I'm supposed to be under oath. And all of a sudden this path in my mind just becomes like the size of a pubic hair. It's just impassable. I'm going to be, you know what I mean? It is just, there is no way that I can take this next step and get around this thing. And I should say I've had panic attacks before. I take medicine for it, but nothing ever like this where I am like hyperventilating, crying. And I believe literally ended up in the fetal position when these two came around and found me. And this gentleman right here was running his first 50K.
That's correct.
About to run it in like 6 hours.
That's what blows
Yes.
my mind. That's what.
Yes.
That's
I mean,
what's crazy.
he's about to run a hell of a race.
No.
And stops to help me. And she comes right behind. And I thought that they were together. But, eventually through all this and talking to me, it's, what's your name? And they had never met either. And they just sat there and talked to me for a good 10, 15 minutes until I would even stand up.
Just stopped.
Yeah.
No more
Wow.
running. You
Done.
stopped and talked to her.
Done. And this isn't like, they weren't like, get up, we got you, and I got up. It took some,
Wow.
like, you know what I mean? Like, I could not get up. Like it took some minutes for me to even like be able to stand up. And then the entire rest of the way, he held my front hand and she held my back hand, and they got me all the way back down to the water. And
2 miles?
Yeah.
So she was legit on the floor, curled up.
Yes.
Yes.
And what was y'all's first thought when you saw her? Do you think she was injured?
Yeah, I mean, at first, that was my first. Yeah, honestly. Well, really, do you want to?
Emotionally.
You want to?
Well, I remember you passing me, and then
Yeah.
I saw you stopped with her.
Yeah.
And the first thing I thought was, because we were in a waterfall area, so my first concern was that she had actually slipped on some of it because it was so icy. There was so much ice there. That was a very plausible explanation. But then
Yeah.
I could hear her breathing, and I knew that it was something else. And Caleb and I just really stopped and just talked to her for a good while, and basic things. Hey, I'm Becky. Hey, this is Caleb. What do you do? What do you, just anything to get the conversation going, so she's not thinking about the situation that we're in.
That
Wow.
makes me want to cry.
Me too.
Like just basic things, like just so thoughtful of somebody else when, instead of being like, man,
my race
I'm
time. I gotta
kicking
pause my
ass.
garment
This is
and-
my first race. I mean, y'all are some fit people. Y'all are out there to run a race. Like I've never been out there where there was anything other than time.
Sure.
I could stop and, spend the weekend with somebody for all I care.
Get a cabin.
But if I was actually you guys out there, doing the deal, and to see somebody and say something other than there's not a trail runner out there who wouldn't, you okay? Can I get you some help? Yeah, let me run back to the finish line and get you some help.
Yeah.
And then while they're over there drinking their beer and telling the paramedics to go get them. But the fact that y'all actually stopped and took that amount of time I think it's incredible. I mean, I can't, I urge you not to discount that at all. The small portion of people, especially 2 of them that don't know each other, that would stop and do that. Who got there first?
Caleb.
We were really, I mean,
they were
right at the same
close.
time. So I think we might have leapfrogged each other for a little bit.
We did.
Like a couple times. And did you do the full or did you do the?
I did the 25K.
Okay. So we were, in my memory, my watch had quit at that point. I think we were probably about mile 27 from my, on the way back, and I think you and I had passed each other a couple times, and we got to that section that's the, kind of around this little bend, and I kind of passed you and said hello and kept going. And then I started to go around the bend, and that's when I see Melisa over here. Like, I mean, in my memory, the way you were literally like tucked under the rock. She was like, so there's like this kind of overhang, and she was like on the ground, like holding her knees, like under the rock, like trying to get as far away from the trail as possible. And I thought, of course, I mean, and then, so I walk up and ask if you're okay, and you weren't even really talking at that point. You were just kind of hyperventilating.
Yeah.
And you walk up, and I think we ask if you're okay. I introduce myself just to try and because once I realize that you're not injured, for me, I'm like, okay, I see what's going on. Because I've also had a panic attack. I know what that feels like.
Yeah.
And it's awful. It's really, it's the most terrifying thing probably that I've ever experienced.
Yeah.
From my own personal experience. And so I'm just like, well, now my job is to get you out of your head, right? Like, just engage you in a conversation. What is your name? My name's this. And I remember asking you, like, what's your name?
I remember
and
that
I'm like,
too.
introduce you. Like, well, here's Becky, and like, here, anything that we can do now to kind of get you out of your head so that you can start to calm down, so that you can start to feel a little safer,
Yeah.
And we did talk for a few minutes in my memory, like just before you could even stand up, it was a few minutes of just, and people were passing at that point, which kind of, I don't know, it just blows me away. That,
Right.
But I guess once you
I think that's more the norm than the exception.
Yeah, I mean, like in trail running, I feel like really like I tell people this all the time as like someone who loves trail running, and it's really like trail running is my therapy for sure. That like I never have a bad day trail running, even when I might be not running well or feeling well. And anybody you always pass trail running, they're always like, hey, how's it going? What's
Yeah,
happening?
right.
Oh yeah.
And when you run on the road and you see people running on the road, you can see people struggling and not having a good day, and they're not really wanting to say, hi, how are you? But trail running is like every person you
different.
pass is just like, hey, how's it? It's beautiful out. It's sleeting. It's like, and they're like, this is great, you know? So anyway, then I feel like we kind of encouraged you to stand up. We got you up, you know, and like I could tell at that point that you were not. It was you were afraid that you were going to fall because there's the kind of cliff face, the trail, and then it drops off down to the stream another probably 10 feet or so. Would you say
100.
110?
Yeah.
At the time,
It felt like
it was a
100.
lot.
Oh yeah.
So then when I was like, all right, well, that's what's the problem. So I kind of stood between you and I put my back to the
Yes.
drop off so that we could you don't have to see it. We can just walk, and the three of us just walked until we got to the creek, really.
Yeah. It was
You
a
know?
good little bit.
Yeah.
Like two really fucking good people helping a person out.
Can I tell you something though? Like so this is my first 50K, and I've run a lot. I've been a runner for a long time. I've never run this distance on the trail before, and I trained so hard for this. I'm sure you guys both. Did you guys run it as well?
We did.
I chickened out of the drive. It was too scary for
Or
me.
I
to
did.
understand.
do.
Yeah.
But I've ran it 8 or 9 times.
Oh, so you've done it a bunch.
I was coming right up there behind y'all, but if y'all would have stuck around for another 4 hours, I would have been there. I was going to help, I'm sure.
I'm sure, absolutely. I felt like this is the hardest I've ever trained for anything in my life, right? And
Wow.
I fell apart. It was for me. It was the worst. It was the worst race that I've ever run. Where at mile 13, I started cramping. I've never had cramps before. My hands froze because it was an aid station. I took my gloves off to try and eat something, and then my leg starts cramping, and then my hands, I couldn't even get my gloves back on because they were like claws.
Oh, no.
And I was like, I'm done.
Yeah.
I can't do this. This isn't working. By mile like 14, 15, I'm like, I was at the turnaround. I was like, I'm going to quit. And I got to the turnaround and I was like, okay, get some food, hang out for a few minutes, warm up. Okay, you can do this. Just go back to the next aid station. You can quit at the next aid station. And I just kind of kept doing that. But it was a process for me of like cramping and limping for a mile, and then I would loosen up and I would run a mile, and then I would cramp and I would limp another mile. And so I was really struggling personally just with my own race, just not going the way that I had anticipated. And when I see you struggling as well, like my impulse is always to help people. And honestly, like the whole interaction that we had, which was not a long interaction from us, you know, seeing you and helping you up and getting you across the creek. And that's when I kind of said goodbye and you guys went in from there. That was the best part of my whole day. You know, like that was honestly the best part of the entire 31 miles is like that just human interaction, you know? And I don't know. So I don't really I'm not trying to discount it in the way that you were saying. It just felt like to me, like, well, okay, well, I just happened to be at the right place at the right time. And all that, like me having a, quote unquote, terrible race put me in that position at the time that you needed somebody.
Absolutely.
What a lesson.
You know, it was like, well, then, okay, that was worth it. That was totally worth it. And, I would totally do it again.
First of all, you speak like a meditational guru. Like if I find myself on a rock that I'm about to fall off of, I want you to be the guy that comes and helps me, because you're very well spoken when you say all these things, and both of y'all are clearly just such very kind people. You know, just sitting in here with the short time that I've been with you, and you can't say that the people that passed would not have stopped. Right. Or anything like that, because I can think of one at the Stanky Creek. A gentleman had a seizure, and when I was running past there, I was thinking, at least if I can do anything, I can carry.
Yeah,
you know, and so I can carry this guy out of here. And one of the girls that I know is a nurse or is in the medical field of some kind, and she very assertively and politely goes, "We're fine, keep going." And I thought, fair enough.
Okay.
There's nothing I can do here but be
Yeah.
obnoxious and ask questions and not know what's going on.
Yeah.
But I am curious. I would be curious to know how many people would stop and take in the care that you gave to Melisa. And I look at it as, Melissa's our friend. Like,
Yeah.
she's our really good friend.
Oh, nice.
And so when people will just stop and give up that kind of something for Melisa, it's really what it means by, a debt of gratitude. It's like, I need to know these people. Like, these people, not only do they need to come on the podcast, which is great, but, you want more people there needs to be more people like y'all in the world. Like, that's wonderful. It's just a wonderful thing.
And then it was funny, like, as Becky and I get to walking and talking, she's like, I hate trails. I'm a road runner. I just did this because of my friends. And I'm like, me too. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we both had the exact same story. Like, we would have much rather been at, like, the road race series, you know what I mean, than
That's funny.
spent 5 hours out there. So we were very similar in that way, too. I thought that was really interesting that we both kind of had that same mentality of it's beautiful out here, but you know what I mean? Like, not really would have been our
Not that beautiful.
Correct.
Yeah, right.
beautiful enough to, crawl up under a rock and think you're going to die.
You just want a different view.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretending like I was a bat.
Becky, is that your only trail experience, or do you run them to spite your...
I run
Friends.
them when my friends convince me to run them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you
But-
like the whole driving down there and...
Yeah, I mean,
That sort of thing.
most of my running really evolves around my close group of running friends. I mean, we're all like really, really close, and most of the things that we do involve around having fun trips to go to various places. So, I mean, we did Marine Corps Marathon together a few years
Yeah.
ago. We've gone down to New Orleans and done that one. We've done a whole bunch of random smaller ones, and also Little Rock. But that's like the thing we do. It's not always necessarily about being the first one finished, but being there with your friends and getting to do something that you enjoy together. And I mean, we were all out there together too, and all but one of us, this was our first Sylamore experience.
Okay.
So
Will there be a second?
will there be a second? There may be a second.
Yeah.
There may be a second.
Now, you were doing the 50K, I'm assuming?
25K.
25K?
No, don't put that much pressure on me.
Yeah, okay. And will you be back in the 50K hopper soon?
Oh, if I can get a slot, for sure.
Yeah.
100%.
Do you do any races around here? Do you have any signed up for the rest of the year?
I haven't signed up for any right now. I've been looking at another 50K. I'm just trying to find the right one later in the year after the heat.
Well, you're super jacked, super fit. Like, I'm assuming you lift weights.
I do not.
You don't really?
No.
That's bull crap that happens.
I do push-ups, pull-ups. That's about it.
And probably don't eat like a complete turd, do you?
I'm not. It's like it's a balance. I eat really healthy, and I also really don't.
Yeah.
Because I love chips. Oh man, get some salty,
good.
crunchy stuff in front of me, and it's like, no, that's just I'm gonna eat that whole bag.
Is that your thing, salty more than sweet, or both?
Look, I'll take some chocolate. I'm
Yeah.
not,
How many push-ups? Do you have a daily routine of push-ups?
It's not daily.
It's got to be a lot.
No, I mean it's not like.
I'm getting angry at it for being well put together. I just don't like fit people as much as I like.
It's more like I try to a couple times a week. I'll alternate. So I'll do a day of push-ups. So what I do is I do a set in the morning, and I kind of just do into failure,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'll try to do a set at lunch and then a set in the evening. And that is I might get a run in that day too. And then like the next day, I'll switch over to pull-ups, and I'll do the same thing where it's just set in the morning to failure, and then try to get three sets of those in a day.
And what about you, Becky? I see you wearing a CrossFit Sopo.
I do CrossFit.
Do you CrossFit?
Absolutely.
And is Sopo your place?
Sopo
you
is
bounce
my
around?
place. I do not bounce around.
Okay. Sopo is in Germantown, Forest Hill, Irene?
Correct.
Is that correct? Still in the same Target
Yes. I
area
use a
over
Target.
there? All right. My brother was at Sopo for a little while. And another accountant friend of mine, Brad Turner, do you happen to know him? He's been gone probably a couple years. He's a tall, skinny guy, and he left his position at the accounting firm Linehan, Bargagese, and something else. I've only been with him for like 10 years, so I wouldn't be expecting another name. And now he's the CFO of Gus's Fried Chicken.
Wow.
I think
Oh,
he lives in
wow.
Las Vegas. Yeah.
That's awesome. I do not know him, but I did start out at a different CrossFit gym before it closed, and I've been with Sopo about 2.5 years now.
Okay. Well, good. Do you like CrossFit as much as running, or not as much, or what?
I like them both for different reasons.
Yeah.
I started CrossFit because I got into the Spartan races a long time ago.
Ah.
So like maybe 2015, and that's what led me to CrossFit, and I really enjoyed it. So even when I gave up on the mud running, because I'll be honest, y'all, this is why I don't like trails either. Mud running is not for me. I just did not enjoy digging in all those holes in the muddy water. But I did it anyways because my husband loved them. So I was a trooper. But so that's really how I found CrossFit, was learning how to get more of the functional fitness with rope climbing and all sorts of other things. And then I quit for a little while because I switched to triathlon training.
Yeah.
And so then I completed a half Ironman, and then I went back to CrossFit because I kind of missed it.
When did you do your half Ironman?
2017.
2017. How was that in comparison to the hardest things that you've ever done?
I would actually call a marathon harder than a half Ironman.
Would you?
I would, because
Yeah.
at least in a half Ironman or any triathlon, you've got several disciplines, so you're kind of going to get to break it up,
Yeah.
and you
See
get to use different strengths.
I'm going to
Yeah,
guess
but-
you're a strong swimmer.
Absolutely not.
Are you not?
It is my worst. It is the worst.
Is it? The reason that I guess that is because when you said that the half Ironman didn't I feel that anybody that says that an Ironman or half Ironman absolutely kills them will most likely be because of the swim.
That's
Well,
why I don't want to try.
Not that all of it isn't horribly
Here's-
difficult, but there's a lot of really good athletes. There's a lot more really good athletes that can't swim than there are really good athletes that can swim well and can't figure out how to ride a bike or
So
run.
the trick to that is to pick a half Ironman or Ironman that has a downhill stream swim.
Yeah, I would think
in a river.
Chattanooga.
Really?
Yeah,
I did Augusta, so it was down in the Savannah River. So
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
my fastest swim ever.
I feel like the swimming part is such a kind of psychological and emotional
Yes.
barrier,
Very
especially
much.
any sort of open water, even if it's a big lake, when you got to go out. And I've never done one, but you go.
It's terrifying.
You swim out, and then you're out in the middle.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you got to swim back.
Yeah.
And
Right.
you're getting tired. Yeah.
Yes.
I imagine that would get.
My first ever panic attack, so I understand
Really?
Melissa's feeling here.
In the
was
water.
in a water.
Oh.
I've heard that too. That
Yeah.
open water swims people
Yeah.
get, even just the practice one. You know what I mean? Like, maybe it
Man.
was, someone was just saying that. Maybe it was Ricky that was out at Shelby Farms.
Yeah.
You know how they've been doing them.
Yeah.
One of them was saying they just had one.
It's terrifying.
I'd be a goner.
being in the water and just
Yeah.
not knowing what to do and not being able to breathe. It's absolutely terrifying.
I would think so. And I mean, just even when you're swimming and you're relaxed and you get a mouthful of water, and then which can very easily lead to another mouthful of water, and then you have almost that panic attack going without even being anxious.
Right.
If you're on the water and you get that breathing going on and can't stop it, that's a bad scene, I would think.
It is.
And those people out there on paddle boards can't do a whole lot for you. I mean, how fast can they get there? And how much attention do they? There's like 1,000, neon hats out there. How are they going to know that you're the one at the bottom of the?
Believe me, you think about that when you're swimming and struggling.
Yeah.
I can tell you by experience. It's like, do they see me? I'm going down. Do they
Yeah.
see me?
They saw me. I will tell you that they saw me. They came and they gave me a noodle, and they just had me hold on until I was ready to go again.
Really?
I swam boat to boat.
So when they give you the noodle, are you just kind of sitting in place for a while, or do you swim with it?
You stay in place because
Okay.
you can't use anything to help you swim.
Okay,
so
yeah,
you
that makes
stay
sense.
in place, and then once I was calm enough, then I would go ahead and go.
Okay.
And move on.
You're like,
So,
can I
yeah.
just me and this noodle?
How long? Yeah, exactly. Maybe a little trolling motor, something. How long did you sit there with the noodle?
It was probably a good 20 minutes. I was one
Okay.
of the last people out of the water.
Really?
After all that, yeah.
Was there a time cutoff that you had to be out of the water?
If there was, they didn't hold me to it.
Yeah.
'Cause I still got to finish and do the rest of the race. But
Right.
yeah, I was definitely the slowest swimmer that day just because I spent so much time hanging out in the water. But, you got to be safe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I did on my next one, I did just like what you said, and I swam to boat to boat to boat to boat just so
Yeah.
that I could feel comfortable and confident about swimming.
Yeah,
again.
and I told them, I'd be like, tell them I'm coming.
Yeah.
Because I was really scared. Didn't know if I was going to make it because I had never swam open water before I did that triathlon. And
Yeah.
Where was that?
That was
Mighty
the
Might?
The Mighty Might and
Arkansas.
Arkansas, yeah.
Yeah.
Arkansas. Was it
Same-
Forest City?
Yes.
Yeah.
Same
Yeah.
place where they have Village Creek.
Yeah, and that's a point to point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that was my one and only triathlon.
Not only had she never swam in open water, or
Oh, yeah.
she had never clipped into
never
a
clipped
bicycle
into my bike.
until
He
the
changed my
night
clips. He changed my
until the night
pedals.
before.
Yeah, until the night before he changed my pedals. He's like, you need to learn to clip in. So we're out on the road out there, me clipping in and out of my bike, trying not to fall over.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah, it was
And
all.
she did, and I think that night she actually came to tears. Amanda doesn't really cry.
I did, yeah, I
she's
cried.
not like.
Because I couldn't get there were new shoes, new clips, and all that, and it was hard to unclip. I was like, I'm going to fall over and slam my head against the pavement and die.
I don't want to tell you how many times I fell over the first time I got on my tri-bike.
Do you ride a tri-bike? You got?
I have one, yeah.
Yeah, those are pretty cool. I let my bike go. I put it in retirement. Someone else needed it more than I did.
Debbie was asking me to go for a ride.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You gonna break it out?
I'd like to. I think the tires are probably dry rotted. I'll have to check it out. But her and Paul were very convincing.
I think it'd be fun for you. Every time I rode the bike, like the 3 times, I probably used the bike for 4 sprint triathlons, like one every year or so. And then I rode the bike probably 3 times outside of those triathlons. And so every year before my next triathlon, I'd have to cut off my little number that was stuck on there from the year before, and I'd wipe the dirt off my clip-on shoes. I had all the gear. And I would worry about the dry rotted tires. I'd be like, this is going to blow up, and I don't want to fall off a bike. I do not want to fall off, especially not one that's attached to me. So the whole time I'm riding,
Yeah.
I'm like super pigeon-toed. Like I'm almost out of the clips, just in case. Like there couldn't be, the clips are probably just barely even touching where they lock in, because the fear is just so much. And at that Mighty Might, the first thing you do is like go straight down.
And
Or
you
is
go
it straight up?
back up.
Yeah, and then straight back up.
Yeah.
And so when we get in the water at Mighty Might, I've told this story more times than anybody wants to hear, but I heard what somebody that sounded like Amanda say, if I touch this boat, or am I done? Something to that effect. And I thought, oh God. I mean, this was 20 yards into the race. And I thought,
Felt like half a mile.
she's not going to make it. This is going to be a bad day. So the whole time I'm swimming, I'm thinking about Amanda dropping, because she's so tough. Like she's super tough, super hard headed. And I knew she would not be happy about that. And then I start thinking about the bike. Like, what's she going to do when she gets on the bike? Blah, blah, blah. And so the whole race, I'm thinking about that. And then when I get back, I find out, that she's still in the game and still hanging with it.
It was horrible, though. I was one of the first people in and second to last out. I kept flipping on my back and floating. And I couldn't hear anybody, and I was floating the wrong way. I was going out instead of back around.
Oh,
it was like
man.
and so then by the time I raised up, they were like way out there, and I'm like, man, I swam all this way the wrong way. And then my bike gear got jammed, and I've never ridden a bike except just a few times, so I didn't know how to unjam it. So I was stuck in the first climbing gear. I was like, I'm going to ride this damn bike, 8 miles in first gear. And the people were coming by on the carts, like, what's wrong? I'm like, my gears are jammed. I can't get them out. And finally, I just slammed them one good time, and they came out. It popped out.
So what's the distance on one of those?
I think it's I could be, obviously, anything I say could be way off. But I'm thinking it's a 1/4 mile swim. Does that sound right? Half mile would be too much, I think.
Yeah, I think it's a quarter.
1/4 mile, and then 14 miles on the bike.
Oh, was it
and
14?
then
Okay.
3 miles on the run.
Bike was
So is
definitely
that what you call a sprint?
a sprint.
Yeah.
Sprints have kind of a loose term into their distances.
They can
so
kind
you'll
of make
see
them up as you go.
variations
And a
on
half
that.
Ironman is what? Like a mile?
It's
A lot.
1.2 mile swim, 56 bike, and a half marathon. And then an Ironman is double that.
And a 1.2 mile swim is much more than 4.5 times a 1/4 mile swim. Because when you're talking about mileage, I mean, you think, a 1/4 mile swim won't be that bad. When you're doing it in the water, that's a lot. And you see, especially when you don't know how to swim in open water, and you veer off to one side or the other, like you're really losing some ground on not sticking close to those buoys.
And don't people like kick you in the face?
Yes.
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 That's my thing. Like I got to take
Yes.
someone down because they're kicking me in the
And
face.
I was going so slow, they were going on top, but they were all over you. Yeah.
That seems like that'll take you out in itself, mentally and physically.
So Holly wants her and you, I guess, to do a half Ironman.
Don't call me out on that.
Oh, no, you got to lock in, do it. Go ahead and commit. Are you going to do it?
I
I
don't
don't know. Debbie's already asked me to go for a ride.
I don't
too.
want to put the suit on and swim.
The
Melissa, you
suit
can do
on.
it.
The
You have to
suit.
wear like a tight suit.
Oh, the suit will make is just that. It's tight, it's thick.
Oh, is it
It's
like,
not-
does Spanx make
Yeah,
a
it's like Spanx.
Okay, I can
Yeah.
do that.
Are you talking about like a wetsuit? Oh, the whole, it's like a full body Spanx.
Well,
Okay.
Yeah.
the tri-suit, Melissa, though, there's so
mean,
many
it's-
cute
you
ones
don't-
out there now. there really are.
Can I get it monogrammed?
I mean, I guess.
There's also a little bit of flotation going on in the wetsuit. Oh, okay. Now
Yeah,
I'm
Do
if you
they?
do-
I
if
think
you
they
do
have
one that
rules on
qualifies.
wetsuit,
Yeah.
wetsuit
they do.
versus tri-suit.
I guess so because I'm thinking I surfed, and so like having the surfing wetsuit's probably a lot different.
Totally different
Oh, yeah.
wetsuit. They're not
Okay.
even
Yeah.
built the same.
Okay.
Yeah, the one for triathlon is
Super
made for
thin.
specifically for triathlon. Yeah, with the
Because
different.
you
She
cannot.
said you look hot in a wetsuit.
Thanks, Holly.
Well, I mean, it's not a sea of sports models out there. I mean, it's not like everybody's looking around going, "Look how she looks like it." Everybody's sitting out there like we're in a damn tri. You can only look so good in a damn tri-suit.
It's
I
very
got
tempting.
one. The first one I got into was way too small. I didn't think I was ever going to get out of it. I thought that somebody like Caleb and Becky were going to have to
Save
walk
you?
by and save me.
Yeah.
You guys can just cut me out of mine.
You know what? I'll pay to have yours monogrammed.
I'll put lift heavy, run long on
If
the
that-
back.
there you go.
I'll represent.
North
Yeah.
Mississippi.
North Mississippi
Endurance. We
yeah.
have them.
I'm sure I'm the.
They're sharp too. North Mississippi Endurance ones are really cool looking.
Why is everybody just staring at me?
Because I mean, are you going to do it?
We're waiting for a yes.
What's a good one to?
Holly needs to know now, like so she can. She
Well,
needs a
Memphis,
yes or no.
Memphis is having one in October.
It's sold out. I wanted to do the relay.
Yeah, we were
and
gonna do a relay.
He wouldn't swim.
Do it next year.
I just didn't think
Give
that'd be that
yourself
much fun. If
a
I was going to
little
do
bit
it, I would have wanted
fun.
to do the.
Give
just
yourself
try to do
time
the
to
whole
train
thing.
and do a sprint and then do Olympic and then go into the half. Don't just go.
So Olympic is before the.
Yeah,
half.
Olympic distance is regulated, and that one is 0.93. Don't
What does
quote me on
regulated
that.
mean?
Yeah.
That's like the international distance for tries.
Okay.
So you see
Okay.
most of them. So that one's got a little more. That's got the 10K on the end. So that one's got more info,
Okay.
more regulation. But it's a good in between. So like when I started with the mini sprint, which I can tell you about later. There's one that's coming up here that is a really popular one. And it's got like a 1/4 mile swim. So you just kind of can get your feet wet and test out the waters in the tri world.
Is it the Annie Oakley
Yes,
one?
Annie Oakley. That was my first ever. But they have a mini one. And since it's all girls that are in the water at the same time, it kind of gives you a little comfort level too.
You think I get tan while I was in the water?
Yes,
I mean,
trust me, I know
if
about
you hang
getting
out on
tan.
one of the canoes, you might.
I'll try it.
I don't think you'd be in there long enough to get tan in the water, though.
I'll try it as long as you two are there to save me when I start drowning.
They'll be on their little kayaks.
Yeah,
They'll
do you have
be
a kayak?
personal
Yeah,
kayaks.
be on speed dial.
Okay.
Just,
If you need moral support, I will be your moral support.
Just like your entourage. You'll have your very own
From
two
now on.
each side.
And she'll have a newborn baby like wrapped up in,
that's
you know what I mean? Like
He'll
how
have a
those
noodle.
women, yeah, a noodle and a newborn baby. That's all I need.
I have my own personal flotation device
That's
right
right.
now.
That's right.
I'm just picturing the training montage. It's going to be great.
Well, you said you don't lift weights, but would you have you lifted weights? At
Oh,
some
sure.
point in
I mean,
time?
like, yeah, a long time ago. 20, 30 years ago, I lifted weights.
Okay, well, I'm going to try to rope you into something. Melissa's already just committed to the
Okay.
triathlon with Holly, which is I
Right.
think you should be proud of, Melissa.
Very proud of.
And so we're putting Lift Heavy Run Long is putting on an event.
Okay.
And it's called Swift and Swole.
Uh-huh.
And it's going to be at Shelby Farms, and it's an 8-hour endurance event.
Okay.
You can do it as an individual, you can do it as 2-person partner, or you can do it as 4-person teams.
Yeah.
Virtual or in person?
Virtual or in person.
Okay.
It's going to be scored, and every hour you run as many 1-mile loops as you can.
Uh-huh.
And then every hour you have 3 minutes to do as many reps of, we said, bench press and deadlift as
Okay.
possible.
Okay.
The only 3 minutes. And every hour that weight will decrease. It'll start high and it'll go lower until it gets to 4 hours. Then it resets back
Okay.
to. And I know you're going to be interested because you're a road runner and you do CrossFit. So anything with weights, you're going to sign up for. So I'm going to need you to commit as well.
Is there a pregnancy division?
However,
It's not till next April.
Yeah, it's next
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
just started.
I got time.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, by then
Be
raising
fine.
kids and everything will be behind you. I'm sure you'll have all the time in the world, all the time and energy in the world.
I'll just strap her on my back.
Yeah.
There you
We'll
go.
make.
Could be
We'll have a
fun.
nursery set up.
So okay.
Yeah, it may just be y'all two. So we'll do whatever we need to.
All right. So the weight that you start at, you have a bench press and a deadlift, and that's across. There's just a set weight for everybody who starts the race.
That's correct.
Okay.
And here's the idea behind that.
I know that I cannot do whatever weight you're about to throw out. I
Well,
know
that,
this is-
But you got time.
That's we're trying to find a middle ground
Yeah.
for the Swift and the Swole. Like
Yeah.
I can't play in the same sandbox as you out on a
Running.
1 mile loop. You're
Right.
going to run literally circles around me all day long.
How fast do you run a mile?
Oh no, I'm not. I'm 50 years old. I do not.
You're 50 years old.
I am 50 years.
You don't
old.
look 50.
You do not look 50 years old,
I
man.
thought he was like 35.
Wow, man.
Do you use skincare?
Do you wanna,
What's
do you
your
want to
secret?
share the
What
regimen
kind?
here? I do not. Do you want to hear some? You guys want to hear something? I don't even wash my face. Like I'm such like a guy that just like, if I wash my hair, and just like I'm like I'm not doing anything. No,
Wow.
no.
We don't wash our microphones or headsets.
Yeah. I guess we got to quit
That's
washing our
crazy.
face, Amanda.
guess
All that
so.
stuff we've been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, anyways, so the scoring part is the difficult thing because we got to find out like what
Sure.
what jives, and what I have in my head is like weights. Figure out, and because it needs to be easy enough to where do I even want to lift this or do I just want to keep running? Or
So you can opt
what's
to
the
not-
strategy?
You can opt to not lift, and you won't get those points. Is that what you mean?
Correct.
Correct.
So you can. I can just keep running.
Like, do you want to waste your legs on this deadlift, or
Right.
would it be better to just keep running?
Are there points for the loops as well? For
Yes.
running? Okay.
Yeah, and so that's the So we need to find out how to score that, and the way that I'm thinking of we're still trying to figure it out, but the way that I'm seeing it is 1 mile is 2,000 ish steps, you'd say. And so then if we figure out how to factor in the reps with that and give, either, if it's 200 pounds, give 200 steps or, a percentage of that or somehow to where it's easy enough to calculate to where you can kind of figure, okay, this next round we should be able to get here, or next round we should get an advantage here, to gamify it and make it fun instead of it being so nebulous and difficult like the college football, bowl ranking system that nobody really knows how it's going to turn out.
I don't know anything about college football, so
But just make it so difficult
You're
to
not
where
missing out.
nobody knows. And I think that would be a fun thing if we can get it right.
Yeah.
And have the scoring live and people know, where they stand.
Yeah.
I think it'd be a fun thing. My next question. We've been talking about doing bench press and deadlift for this whole time. We could make this significantly less complicated if we did push press.
I don't even know what that is.
It doesn't involve a bench, basically. So it wouldn't involve a spot. It would
just go
involve
like-
picking it up and doing like that instead of having to find 6 benches and make sure that people don't chop their necks off, being under bench press. Because part of my concern is there's not that many people who are going to want to run 8 hours.
Right.
There's even less people that are going to want to run 8 hours and lift in between. And most of the people that you convince to do that are going to be trail running type people who are up for the experience.
Yeah.
And so the last thing that we want is to make the weight so damn heavy that everybody's out there trying to do their 1 rep max.
Right.
And, we literally have vertebrae lying out there on the concrete.
Yeah, but they'd have to clean it first, though, to even get it above their head.
Correct.
Which is a movement that I don't know if a lot of regular runners that don't lift would be able to clean well.
I don't know how to do
that
it.
could be an issue.
What about body weight? I mean, just pull-ups.
How would we get that many? How would it get that many poles out there, bars out there
Get
on
some
the rigs?
2x6s.
And body weight is the opposite of what leveling the playing field. That's taking a skinny runner who can do a bunch of pull-ups and still leaving the fat guy out of it.
Unless, but if I guess it depends, because everybody, if you've got a runner who's never doing any sort of like strengthening conditioning, they're not going to be able to do that many pull-ups.
Well, big guys can't do that many pull-ups. I don't care how much conditioning they
I always felt like, okay, so you guys remember, well, I've already outed myself as being probably the oldest person here, but like the presidential fitness.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like, I was in
yeah.
junior high.
Schwarzenegger, absolutely.
Yeah. And like, I was always like, man, I felt like the little guys had so much of an advantage because their arms were so much shorter. When you're doing those pull-ups, I'm like, look how far I got to go. They're just, they got these little arms that are just like, bam, 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 bam. I'm like, this doesn't seem fair.
It's not fair. None of it's fair. And running's not fair for big people. And that's why we got to have a lift.
Okay.
That's right. And I think there should be a minimum. I think that if you can't do 5 reps, like the buy-in, like you'd have a 5-rep buy-in. So you got to be able to do 5 reps of the weight before it counts for anything. And so that'll keep people from getting out there and just one time being like, doesn't that make sense?
I think it sounds really interesting.
What about would you do it?
I would do it.
You think you'd get people from your gym to do it?
I'll definitely ask.
I bet people would do
I
it.
think they would.
I think it'll be fun.
I think you're playing at a lot of different strengths in different people because naturally
Yeah.
we're a better runner or we're typically better at our weights, but not necessarily are we best at both.
Yeah.
Well,
So
and
you'd really get to see the best in what everybody can do.
And the idea is this, and I've already talked about this on the podcast, but whatever. The whole idea behind Lift Heavy Run Long was because when I was coming into running, there were so many people that were so welcoming in running, and they all hated lifting. And then I got into CrossFit, and there were so many people that were so welcoming in CrossFit, and they all hated running. And so then I met these people, and I was like, why do you have to do one or the other?
Yeah.
Like, people are so opinionated on what you can and can't do. And I was like, there needs to be a bridge. This gap needs to be bridged. And I think that if some runners got out there and felt what it felt like to feel strong or to get a pump, could be like, I could get used to that. Like, I could get used to having some people holler at me. And then getting some, broad-shouldered waddlers out there that was like, I'll do another mile.
Yeah.
If I'm out here, I might as well go do another one. Put some points on the board, hang out, come back here, eat a couple pieces of pizza or whatever they're selling from the vendor stands. And it'll just be an afternoon. We'll have tents all out there and band.
I was going to say, have either of you done the Big Buffalo 50K? Or
I signed up for when it got quarantined.
Really?
Yeah.
There's something about just being out there in that area and all the tents, and does that, you know what I mean? It's even just something about being there that just makes it so, and that's, we're doing it in the exact same spot.
Okay, nice.
That makes it, fun. Family can go play at the playground, come back, just, it's the best of all worlds.
Have you guys ever done like a Ragnar?
They have.
We done
Yeah.
a trail Ragnar.
Which one did you do?
Atlanta?
When was that?
It's been
We did it twice.
Yeah.
We did it like 3 years ago.
3 and 5 years ago, I
I
think.
think I did it 2 years ago, that one. But that sounds like the same kind of atmosphere.
Yeah.
Trail in particular because, it's all around the base camp.
Yep.
Yeah.
3 different routes, and so that kind of camp is the same atmosphere of.
Absolutely.
Tour de Spirit. Y'all ever heard of that? That's in Germantown. It's a 24-hour race at, what's the church?
Holy Rosary?
Yeah, I think it's a Catholic church, whatever
Yeah.
it is.
It is a Catholic church. But I don't think it's Holy Rosary.
I'm trying to remember.
But anyways, it's just a 1 mile loop, and your tents are all out there, and it's all
That's
night,
fun.
and you run a little bit. Some people run a mile and drink 4 bottles of wine.
Yeah.
Some people run 50 miles and eat McDonald's cheeseburgers.
There's one of those in Nashville this coming up weekend. It's a trail. It's 1 mile with, I think it's about 340 feet of elevation in 1 mile.
Is that a lot? I don't even know.
340
either.
feet for 1 mile
Is a
for
lot
around
fast.
here.
Yeah,
It's
it's
a
pretty
lot.
good. Yeah.
Is it?
But you've got 20 minutes to finish the mile,
Oh.
and then it starts again, and it's the last person standing. So
okay.
it's basically just goes until there's only one left.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Which is kind of an interesting event.
Yeah.
Is that like, is it Big's Backyard where they do
Yeah.
the loop every hour?
Yep.
Yeah,
like that.
it's something's backyard.
Yeah.
A Lazarus Lakes
Yeah.
production.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Lazarus.
I know you said you were looking for another race for this fall. You
Yeah.
could do Big Hill Pond. They have a 50K.
When is that?
October 16th.
Yeah.
That's the one. Yeah. So I really, really wanted to do that one. That's the one that's about an hour and a half from here.
Yes,
Is that right?
Pocahontas, Tennessee.
That's the one.
Yep.
I was so excited when I found that one, and I was like, "All right, I'm in. I want to do this." My friend who I had gone to Sylamore with wants to do it, and I am driving back from Asheville that day.
Oh man.
And so then I'm like asking my wife, I'm like, "Well, what if we just drove back a day early?"
See, we'll be on vacation also. Driving back. Yeah.
It's always around fall break.
Yeah.
Yep.
It always
Yeah.
is.
It
It's
is.
either the Saturday we leave or the Saturday we're coming back.
Yeah, we're coming back
always
from
around
vacation.
fall break.
I think it's everybody's married here, right?
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know how your spouses are. You guys can fight right in front of us, I guess, about this. But like my wife is now like, well, I'd really like to go to this place. Do we have to find a trail run there for you to do? And I'm like, yeah, pretty much. If there's a race there, I'll go.
Yeah.
Not only do we have to do that, but we also have to leave early so I can go to another trail race.
Yeah.
Right,
And,
yeah.
and do
Yeah.
Big Hill Pond. But we know the race director, so if the
Yeah.
50K isn't long enough, they'll let you do more than that. If you
Twice
need
that
if you
much.
need to do it twice, then we can pull some strings.
Okay.
If that'll get you there,
Right.
I won't be there. I signed up, but we're going to be out of town. Unfortunately, but it's a fun, well put together race by some.
It's the hardest one I've ever
Yeah, it's the
done.
hardest
Really?
50K I've ever done.
It's
It's harder than Sylamore.
It's the one with the fire tower. Is that
Yes.
correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that was so
Yeah.
exciting. I was
Yeah.
so excited by that fire tower.
Were you?
Yeah. Were you not?
I wouldn't go up it. I had to go up and down the bottom.
Oh, okay.
You really think this girl went?
I don't know.
You will die up
So
there.
heights, yeah, heights
You
and
will
not
die up there.
pretty sure.
You will die up there.
What if I was there? What if I could shepherd you up the tower?
I'd
There
do
we
it
go.
with the both of you.
You ready?
That's too close to.
I was gonna say, when's your
baby
due
girl?
date?
It's
Yeah.
too close to when baby girl will
When's
be
that
born.
happening?
Yeah.
End of September.
Okay.
Wow.
So yeah.
Yeah, that'd
You'll
be
be
a
fine.
real
3
tough
weeks.
recovery.
I was about to say they're going to start negotiating you into.
If you want things to
Commit-
fall
baby
back into
commitments.
place,
Now, if you
It's
want
a
to talk
perfect-
about 2022, we might be able to
okay,
negotiate
we can do that.
Well,
We'll
do you
let
think you can just hold it?
Don't be so selfish.
Yeah.
There's other people involved here. I mean,
I don't know if I'll be able to waddle through all that entire race by then.
Do you know what you're gonna name her?
We have about 2 or 3 names
Okay.
that we have in mind, but we haven't officially picked one yet.
Yeah.
are you still able to do fitness related stuff now?
I am. I just do it with the appropriate modifications for anybody who's pregnant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You still going to CrossFit?
Yes.
Yeah.
Very cool.
See, that would be my excuse for 9 months. I'm pregnant. I can't be doing any of that.
Oh, you just have to watch out on your core and your
Yeah.
pelvic floor stuff. But I mean, there's modifications you can still do.
I mean, I guess people having babies long enough to where they know kind of what can and can't be done
Yeah.
with them. But it sure seems like people
Yeah.
do stuff like that for a long time.
We had
Up
a
until,
girl-
I mean, can you work out up until you break water or whatever happens?
Oh, there was at one of my gyms several years ago. There was a girl who literally was swinging kettlebells the day before she gave birth.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, you know,
Wow.
April always worked out till she had hers.
Yeah,
She
I
was doing
know.
box jumps with the big old belly and everything. It's good for her.
Whew. So scaly.
I guess where there's a will, there's a way.
Used to do box jumps with big old belly. Now I just have big old belly and don't do box jumps.
I don't do the box jumps either. I'm modified to step ups.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to
Probably
fall.
Wise.
I don't blame you. It terrified me watching her doing it. It's like, oh my God.
Caleb, do you ever think I'm going to go to a CrossFit gym? Or I'm going to go try this or that?
No.
Just
no.
running?
Well,
No.
and I'm not. It's not. It's just. It's not that it. It's not something I'm opposed to. I
Right.
didn't mean to say that. Like, oh no, no. It's just I'm pretty busy, and I like running. I like the stuff I do. I used to box. I like boxing a lot.
Okay,
And
yeah.
So I've had other interests.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Other ways to like burn it all off.
Yeah.
Yeah, you look like you got some reach, man. I wouldn't want to get tied up with you in a boxing match for sure. Look like it'd be a problem. How long did you do that?
I did it for years.
Did you really?
Yeah. Obviously not professionally. It's just like I just loved the sport. I loved boxing. So
Even if you're a somewhat hobbyist of a boxer, you can beat the shit out of 90% of the people out there. The people who, the difference in getting in a fight and being a fighter is the gap is so incredibly huge. Like the people that are like, oh, whoop that dude. That.
Yeah.
You have to really, you very seldomly see people who know how to fight. Like it's more common to feel uncomfortable after you watch someone throw a punch than it is to be like, that dude's pretty tough.
Yeah. It's more, I mean, if you're talking about street fights, it's just pure aggression and, wild swings.
Yeah.
But if you have a boxer or a wrestler versus just a dude like me who's like, I'm going to beat your ass, I'm going to lose every time. You can just tell. And people don't know that. And these people that have like, TKO or whatever knockout on the back of their truck, with big smokestacks, those guys don't stand a chance.
I don't know what the TKO on the back of the truck
whatever
is.
redneck stuff, big sticker they have, a guy like pissing on Ford or something that are running around being tough and talking about beating people's ass. Yeah. Just doesn't work that way.
I just happened to see today because we were driving home from Chicago. There was some fight. Was it over the weekend where they just like hugged a lot? Yeah. And people are saying it was just a big disappointment.
Oh, no. I saw Grayson showed me the one where the guy had his first knockout, his first time in the ring or whatever, and had a knockout in 7 seconds.
That must have been another one.
Okay.
I think, was this one Mayweather?
Oh, Mayweather and that YouTuber.
Oh,
I can't remember what that guy's name is.
Logan Paul.
Yes.
Logan Paul. But, those are fights that they start with money and they end with money.
Absolutely.
I mean, Logan Paul and Mayweather have as good of a relationship as you and I have right now.
That's correct.
Only they both have a lot more money.
A lot.
Right.
And they're saying, we're going to get in there and you're going to land a couple blows. I'm going to land a couple blows. We're going to beat each other up just a little bit, not enough to where somebody goes home, with a tube in their mouth.
Yeah.
But, it'll be fun. But I'll win.
Way
that's just the
different
way
than-
those things work.
Yeah, it's way different than getting mad on the street or something. You know what I mean?
For sure.
And having that kind of altercation.
Yeah. And it's
I
not
agree.
a Tyson Holyfield where they're going to go out there and,
I agree.
and
Bite your ear off.
and bite your ear off. Were you a Tyson fan back in the day?
Oh, are you kidding me? I mean, like, okay, so
God.
I've told you my age. So, I mean, I was a teenager when Mike Tyson went pro,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, it was, of course, I was a Tyson fan. Yes.
I think everybody was.
Yeah.
Was the whole world a Tyson fan?
I think so.
Used to play Mike Tyson's Knockout.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I still remember when my
Yeah.
brother beat it. And
Yeah.
my dad's like taking pictures, and I mean,
Oh,
it was
that's
like it was legit at our house.
Yep. It was huge.
Yeah.
We were, a friend of mine was in the shower, this has been years ago, but it was still 20 years after Mike Tyson's Punch Out. And he was like, 4230420423991, and he's like, that's the code to Mike Tyson's Punch Out. I just remembered it, whatever it was. We're like, all these years and you still remember that
code.
But I remember pay-per-view, like everybody pay-per-viewed that thing. It was like whatever was a lot of money back then. It was probably $20, $40, and it seemed like the whole world gathered around somebody's TV to watch those fights for 90 seconds or however long it lasted before he demolished somebody.
Absolutely.
Guess what?
We're out of time.
We're out of time. This has been so much fun.
It has.
Thank
Y'all-
you both
y'all
for
are a
coming.
lot of fun.
Yes.
Thank you
Thank
both
you for having us.
for everything you did for me. I am
course.
forever. I would still be out there forever. Well, Wilson, you might have come at the end. You
I
would've
probably
come
would have
around
just
and
laid down there with you. And we both would have been frozen.
I'm waiting
there.
for Amanda
I'd
to come
drive
get us. Yeah. We're like, we're behind rock number 1, Amanda. 'Cause she would have came and got us too, but we'd been waiting a long time.
No, I do. I feel bad for leaving
No.
you and not going, but I was too scared.
I understand.
So,
I totally get it.
I feel bad because I talked it up and I was ready to go run with you, and then I'm like, hope I believe So,
It is a beautiful race. I
but
see why
you
people.
met two wonderful people.
That's
in that,
right.
So,
Yeah, absolutely.
Got a story to tell.
That's
Yeah.
right.
do you think you'll do it again?
I think I'm gonna try
Yes. Thank you.
That a girl.
Sweet.
and pray for
Good
that
weather.
It's not icy at
Yeah.
least.
That'd be nice. Above
Agreed.
30,
Yeah.
I think it'd be good.
We've done it in ice and snow, and we've done it in blazing hot.
I was gonna say I've seen you in
sweltering.
pictures like with tank tops,
Yeah.
and then completely
yeah,
bundled.
completely bundled.
Yeah.
I assume the heat. I would prefer the cold.
Me
honestly.
too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was, I think it was 82 at one point during the day.
I can't imagine.
So bad.
And I just remember getting on after the turnaround when you're on the sides of it seems like you're just kind of going in and out and you're
Yeah.
on the side, and that sun was beating down, and I thought, I just can't. And maybe it wasn't 82. It may have been 40. seem really hot, but I'm also a little heavy. Things seem hotter than they are sometimes. But 82 is the number I got stuck in my head. But it just
could've
came
been.
in my
It was
head a
in
little
the
while ago.
It could have been.
Lift Heavy Run Long number 208 is in the books.
Thanks for listening.